Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of the Compliance Playbook. Whenever we develop a new product, new application, we talk about did we test it? But most of the time we only talk about the functional testing and we do not talk about the security testing. What is security testing? So in a technical word, it is called VAPT, Vulnerability Assessment and Penetration Testing. That's where the security team comes into the picture. They try to find out all the weak vulnerabilities into the product and try to exploit them. It's like the thieves are on your side and they're trying to make sure on your behalf that your product is secure enough. But how many times we have actually done it and when is it exactly required to be done? To talk about this and to talk about more in the depth about VAPT, we have got Pragya Johari with us. Pragya spent more than a decade into security and compliance. She has worked with a lot of leading organizations in the same field. So let's welcome Pragya and let's get started. Hi Pragya, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Manoj. Thank you so much. And super excited to be here today. And I'm very much excited to share my knowledge and my experiences, what I've learned so far in nearly, one decade. So yeah, super excited.
Pragya, so thank you so much for sparing time with us. Like I always talk to people, and people are only aware about the functional testing of the product. They feel like the product has to work well, but for a product to work well, it's not just the functionality, it's also the backend security. So, if you can share with our audience what is VAPT in a very layman language, what exactly is a VAPT, so that any product owner, or not just the product owner, even the new entrance to the industry, they would also understand what exactly is a VAPT. So please.
Correct. I mean, QA stands for just to check whether your software is working fine or not. That's okay. But right now, environment has changed. It's evolving, right? So VAPT comes into the picture, and VAPT stands for, as you said, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So easiest way to understand this concept is to think like your digital system as a house, right? So in a house, we have doors, we have locks, we have walls. I mean, we have windows, everything, right? So if we break this term in the two parts, VA and PT, they have different definitions. So vulnerability assessments is like inspecting all the doors, all your windows and logs to see if there are any weaknesses, right? Just to
Mm.
check the weakness, whether they have it or not. But when it comes to PT is something when we try to break in the system safely and ethically.
Mm.
Ethically is the key word here,
Yeah.
because VAPT has it basically comprises of black box, white box, gray box. So why I'm mentioning ethically, because we are getting the permissions, and by using the permissions we are trying to do the testing. We are trying to break in the system ethically to see an attacker how could exploit these weaknesses. So in short, VAPT is a protective way of finding and fixing security gaps before the bad guys do, before the notorious guys do. And if you do this
Mm.
activity before the hand, I mean, you can save lots of money.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it. So you're saying these are two different activities.
Yes,
One is
yes,
the vulnerability assessment, that is just finding the weakness,
yes,
and second is the PT, that's the penetration testing, which is an ethical way of exploiting this weakness.
yes.
So now I think Pragya, you gave a normal, a very simple word
Hmm.
definition to it. Now my question would be, is it compulsory for every product to do it?
Exactly. Yeah. It's very compulsory. It's a mandatory process to perform the VAPT, because when you do the VAPT, it gives you a clear picture about your security posture of your organization, how secure your environment is. So right now you have heard this term DevSecOps, secure shift left approach, right? Shift left. Earlier it was not there. When I started my journey around 10 years back, so it was not there. So we do the testing after the deployment, and when it goes to the production, when we do the testing, and if something mishappen or something, some issue comes up, it requires lots of efforts, money, and time, and I mean, lot of thing, right? So now VAPT is mandatory during the initial stages. I mean, during the design phase only, so that you can save your
Hmm.
time, you can effort, you can your money. A lot of things are at stake, right? So yes, it's very mandatory. It gives you a clear picture of your organization.
Then Pragya, while you and me might agree that it's compulsory, but again, because I've got a lot of founder friends,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think even I think not even 5% people are doing VAPT. Then why is it so? Is it because there's not enough knowledge around it? or there is not enough awareness around it, or people don't see actual value of VAPT. Why people are not doing it? Because see, everyone does the functional testing or the quality assurance like we talked,
Uh,
but there are very less than 5%. I do not know, like these numbers are not official, I'm not read it anywhere, but I'm just telling you from my experience, like whosoever I've talked to or the founders I know. What could
mhm.
be the reason, Pragya?
Because of, I mean, they are not aware about the current, the things going around, and
Hmm.
that's why they are not, putting the security at the initial stage.
Hmm.
Because see, in the past we have seen multiple breaches, right? I cannot name the breaches, but we have seen multiple breaches, and it costs
Hmm.
you money. It damages your reputation, the customer,
Hmm.
confidence, everything. But now these days, security is in a culture. Earlier it was in a checkbox, now it's in a culture,
Yeah.
and now they are implementing security from the initial stages and creating policies and everything, making things compliant. And so yeah, I mean, that is going on now. This is in the trend basically.
But Pragya, don't you think like we might, because we come from the compliance and security background, we think it's kind of a compulsory. But I think for a company where it might not be asking for the critical data. They are just storing some random data here and there, and there are so many products in the market, be it on the Play Store or be it on the web base,
Hmm.
and they eventually don't do the VAPT because they feel even if they get breached, there's not much on the stake. So is that mindset correct? Like they should do it.
They should do it. The issues are like, what I say is, silent diseases. The bugs and the issues are like silent diseases. They go unnoticed until something catastrophic happens. So it's better you do the investigation of your application before it goes to the internet, because over the internet you don't know the other person what he's having in their mind, right? What they're thinking about your application. They can break your system like anything, right? So
Hmm.
it doesn't matter whether your application has critical data, your financial data, or anything. They can break your system like anything, and I mean, your reputation is at the stake. Yeah.
So you're saying it's not just about the client data, but also they can completely shut off your product
Correct. Correct.
because the product has completely gone out of. It can go out of your hands. It won't be
Hmm.
able to be. No one will be able to use the product, and eventually not even your clients.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Got it. Got it. So, Pragya, from your experience, do you recall any incidents where VAPT, could save a major security breach? Like any such issue that was caught during the VAPT itself, and you were like, okay, if this would not have been caught right now, it could
Hmm.
have caused a lot of havoc a lot of problem in the future.
Yes, I have a couple of instances. So
Yes, please.
I can tell you one here. So one of the most impactful engagement I worked on for VAPTs for fintech platform, right?
Hmm.
In my past organizations. So during a routine VAPT process, so we discovered an indirect object reference vulnerability, right?
Hmm.
So during this vulnerability, we were allowed to, we were allowed to access other users' accounts by just tweaking the URLs, the parameter in the URL. So if left undetected, it could have exposed, sensitive financial data, because we were
Yeah.
doing the testing for the fintech platform. So financial
Yeah.
data, PII data, I think it's a treasure, right?
Yeah.
It's a treasure
Agree.
for a company. You have to be very cautious about your data.
Got it.
Data is everything right now. So
Yeah.
it could be a potential disaster during that time when we were doing the testing. So because we caught it during the testing phase only, development team patched it and then deployed, and it goes over the production, right? And this preventing could have been massive breach and reputational damage. So again, reputational
Yeah.
damage. Reputation is like, because we spend a lot of time, a lot of years to earn the customers trust, build our
Hmm.
reputation. So yeah, so this was the instance I clearly remember right now.
Yeah, and also I think let me break it down a little for the audience, like what exactly you explained, Pragya. Like a lot of time, what happens when we do the functional testing,
Hmm.
specifically QA teams, they try to do most of the things from the front end. Changing the roles, changing the permissions and everything. At the front end, things might work very well. Like when you're trying to change certain permission, you're trying to escalate the rule, you're
Yes.
not able to do it because of the certain restrictions on the UI.
Correct.
But
Correct.
when a security teams comes into the picture, like you explained, Pragya, they go to the URL, they go to the inspect element, they go beyond front end,
Beyond. Yes.
and
Yes.
that's where the mess starts.
Yes. Yes.
Because
A
QA
QA
team,
is
they are
not
very,
the
very limited. Yeah.
In my understanding, QA is not just about front-end testing, it's about functionality testing, whether
Yeah.
whatever you have implemented in your application, it is working or not. Just the
Yes.
functions, right?
Yes.
But security is something you go into the deeper side, you check everything, your backend, your URLs, how client is communicating to the server. So the
Yeah.
request part, right? The request part.
Yes.
So they
So
play with the request.
correct, correct. So that's what I would request to all the founders if they're watching this particular
Yeah,
segment, that if you are asking your team to test, don't just limit them to the front end. Hire
yeah,
experts and ask them to check the back end, the request part, if the
yes, yes.
URLs can be tweaked, if the permissions can be escalated, because
Yeah.
things might look very, very smooth on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the backend part, to the request, to the server request, to the URL, that's where things start getting messy. And if someone understand that and someone can get a control to it, you don't even know like what is on the stake.
Yeah, even a smallest misconfiguration could cause your, disaster. If you change
Yeah.
the vulnerabilities, it could cause, a massive disaster. Smallest misconfiguration. So yeah.
Yeah. So okay, now Pragya, because now we're talking about a particular segment of founder who might not be ready mentally today for the VAPT because it might look for them as an extra effort or as an extra cost. What do you think? What is the most easiest way for them to do VAPT by themselves? Like I understand, like some things have to be done by the specialist. I strongly agree to that. But let's say at this point of time, they're just trying to still convince themselves. What is the easiest way they can try something on their end itself, using their laptop, using their computers, without involving any security specialist? What is the bare minimum they can do to understand about the VAPT or certain vulnerabilities in their own system? If you can just list a few.
I mean, if they don't want to hire someone,
Yeah, no,
some
like what is there something that they can try themselves? Like we talked
okay.
about just one thing, the URL part, What is that
Uh-huh.
one thing they can just, go to the product and just change something and they see if there really is any vulnerability or not.
Okay. So I think see, both VA and PT, they are essentials but serves different purposes, right?
Hmm.
So VA is something where it's a broad and automated process. You run your tool, whatever your organization tool is using. Just run the tool, find out all potential weaknesses and outdated softwares, misconfigurations, and outdated libraries. These are the basic things that you can see while scanning your organization. That's I mean, anyone can do it. Your organization can do it. If you don't want to hire someone, you can do it themselves and just start the tool and see all your endpoints and all your weaknesses listing out there. That the tool will give you all the clear picture.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt. Like any tool that you can name, like if there's any tool that you
Yes,
like or
yes.
you use yourself.
Yes, I mean, there are multiple tools out there in the market, but what I have used so far is for web application, I have used Burpsuite and OWASP, Equinetics. For network, I have used Nessus.
Hmm.
For exploitation, I have used Shodan, Recon NG. So, I mean, there are multiple. You just name it, and then the tool is there. So, I mean,
Got
there are
it.
different tools available for different things, right? So,
Got it.
as I was saying, VA is for scanning part. You can do it. You just start the tool. You will see all the potential weaknesses. But if you want to just try one step more, the PT comes into the picture. It's targeted and it's a manual, right? So as I said,
Hmm.
tweaking the URL, right? It's a PT process, right? Because
Hmm.
not I mean tools are basically signature based. You won't be able to find business logic issues over there, but PT is something
Yeah.
where you will see the business. You will try to create the test cases around it. So these are the things that you can do it. You don't need to hire anyone from the outside. And
Hmm.
I personally feel you should train your internal team by
Hmm.
organizing some sessions like secure coding principles. Just train them on the OWASP, because OWASP is a main framework for the VAPT. See, there are top 10 vulnerabilities listed out there. So
Yeah.
top 10 are the basic ones. And
Hmm.
according to your business, according to your organization, they vary. For example, for me, SQL injection is P1, but for you,
Yeah.
SQL injection could not be P1. It
Yeah.
depends on the organization, how it works and what are the policies and what we carry. So yeah, that's how it works. And if an organization has never done VAPT, I would say just start with the VE process. At least it will give you a clear picture about all the potential weaknesses in your organization. You will have a baseline. And then you can move to a PT for a deeper dive and more realistic risk assessment, basically.
Got it, got it. I think that was a very good insight. You are saying like if you're trying to do the VA, use the tool, at least
Yes.
a founder will understand that
Yeah.
is he really in the red zone or not? And eventually that
Mm.
will give him the confidence that is he doing things right? And if
Yeah.
there are vulnerabilities coming out, then he can might be hire a specialist or someone for the
Correct.
PT and then kind of deep dive. Okay, you talked about one thing here is about the top 10 vulnerabilities.
Yes. Yes.
Again, I'm not taking a test here, but can you list a few? Because again, there are a lot of people those even lazy enough to go and Google around
Yeah.
it. If you can just list a few, at least three or four, and eventually
Uh,
just explain that what can be this top three or four vulnerabilities that people should look out for in their product.
I mean, this is a good question, and I was expecting this question actually. So, I mean, across industries and environments, we see, mainly 4 to 5 vulnerabilities. What I have seen so far, frequently.
Yeah.
And from them, top 5, what I see is injection flows.
Mm.
Injection flows could be anything. It could be an SQL injection. It could be command injection. It could be LDAP
Yeah.
injection.
Yeah.
And this causes because of poor input validation, right?
Yeah.
They have different remediation as well, but right now I'll just talk about the top vulnerabilities what I have seen so far.
Yeah.
And second is broken access control. It gives you a
Mm.
user to access the data or functionality they shouldn't, right?
Got it.
And yeah, third is security misconfiguration. Although this is a very basic, but misconfiguration, it could cause massive attacks. So it happen because of default credentials,
Yeah.
exposed admin panels, or unpatched systems, right? And
Mm.
likewise, we have sensitive data exposure, like your database is having credentials in a plain text format, or your keys are stored in a plain text format.
Plain
And the
text
last
format.
is a cross-site scripting. We call it as
Yeah.
excesses.
XSS.
Excesses. So malicious scripts are basically running in your browsers, and it could steal
Mm.
your cookies and impersonate users. So I mean, there are chaining of attacks can happen using these basic issues. So yeah, these
Got
tough
it.
issues we see frequently in the
Yeah.
application environment.
No, I think, Pragya, thank you so much, for sharing that common vulnerabilities because I think why I ask is that at least if people know about the basic vulnerabilities, because
Yeah.
when we do the input validation for them, input validation is most of the time this regex,
Mm-hmm.
the regular expression they will put, okay, should we allow alphanumeric, should we allow this, should we allow that, but they do not understand why is it required. So that
Yeah.
only certain characters are used, and because if someone is trying to do the SQL injection, he would do some special characters that can help them to run the script or expose the whole database. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason we try to limit to every edit field we need to limit the kind of text you can enter. So thank you
Yes.
so much
Yes.
for sharing that so that
I mean,
people
these
could
might sound very
yeah
basic, but
yeah
they are the ones that lead to biggest breaches. And most attacker don't
yeah
need a 0 days. They will just tweak with the misconfiguration and just play with these basics ones and exploit all your weaknesses.
Yeah, no, no, I think that's a very easy way to understand that,
Yes.
Pragya. But
Yeah.
one thing, if you can share any funny instance from your journey in 10 years around the security, where you were trying to explain it to your senior or to your client or something around that, just because of the misconception of the security, the things did not go well. Now it could be a fun part, or it could be anything that comes on the top of your mind when you talk of when you think about convincing people about the cybersecurity, because it's a very easy norm. Like in
Mhm.
in the in the product companies or in the service companies, for the founder, security still is a cost. And when we try to explain them, they will give you every reason to defend that why they don't want to spend on this. Correct. So if
Yeah.
you have any such instance on the top of your mind, very fresh.
Yes. In my previous employments, in one of the employments, I was directly reporting to the CISO. So when
uh,
you talk to the leadership or the management stakeholders,
uh,
it's better you should not go with the technical terms. You go with the very layman terms. You understand, you make them understand in a very in a way that from impact perspective you understand, right? Because they don't
mm,
understand the technical terms. They won't understand your jargons like what is XSS, what is SQL. No, you understand that if it doesn't get patched during the timeline, the falana impact can happen. So in my point of view, I usually explain in a terms that they understand, risk and money.
mm, got
For
it.
me, for me, risk is important. For them, money is important.
Yeah.
So they should go hand in hand, right? And that's how
Mm,
you prepare your proper business case before you go to the management. right? And because putting money in security is where something people don't want, right? They just want to put money in the functionality side, like they'll come up with the new features and day by day, but they won't aware, or they are not cautious about the security, right? So yes, you explain in the term like risk and money, and you just say the cost of one breach could be money, your downtime, your reputational damage, and legal actions. And that could cause 100 times more than the cost of preventing protective your testing, or you can say the
Got it.
proactive testing. Yeah. So for me, VAPT is not a cost, right? But it's an investment in your continuous journey. Your customer trust. Trust is more important. I'm telling you again and again, customer trust is very, very important for a business, and regulatory compliance, right?
Yeah,
And I mean, I'll repeat myself. Security is not an investment. I mean, security is the only investment that pays off
investment.
when nothing happens. If nothing happens, then it's completely fine. You're safe.
It's completely
And
fine.
yeah, if breaches stay out of your headlines, and your organization is not in the headline regarding to the breaches, and customer remain confident, I think I mean, you have achieved so good. I mean, your ROI, you have already achieved your ROI. So yes, that's
Yeah.
how you should go to the upper management.
Yeah. So it's like don't explain them what, explain them
No,
what if.
what if? Yeah, you explain
Yeah,
them the
and
impact,
they explain
business
them the
impact.
impact.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think I can also share from my experience because currently while working at Narad.io, every time I reach out to an enterprise client, once they like the product, the next thing they ask me, can you share your latest VOPT report?
yeah.
And I know for sure coming from the background, if my answer is no, even if they like the product, they won't onboard me as a vendor. They would be first like, okay, let me look at your VAPT report. What does it really
Mm.
talk about? What were the vulnerabilities that were found out, and what did you do about it? And
Mm-hmm.
this is the very, very simple thing that if you're dealing into the enterprise domain that you could do, like let's say if you cannot afford, the expensive certificate of SOC and ISO and whatsoever. But again,
Mm-hmm.
those certificates have their own value. I think in
Mm-hmm.
the initial days, this VAPT can save you a lot of time and to and fro with your clients. Because
Yeah.
if you say that you already have it, and rather than telling
Mm-hmm.
that I'll get it done, there's too much
Mm-hmm.
of difference. It's like
Yeah.
when you say you already have it, that means you're proactive, you're
Proactive.
not the reactive, you're proactive approach that you're serious about your product. I think VAPT is something I will suggest, I will request all the founders that if you are into enterprise specifically, dealing into B2B, get your VAPT done, put it on your website also that the last VAPT was done so and so. Don't need to share the report publicly. But then if the client reach out to you, you will be much more confident when you're
Yes.
talking to them about the security aspect. Now, so Pragya, now while we are getting into the last segment of our discussion,
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know because there are a lot of youngsters out there who are
Yeah.
trying to get into this field of security and compliance. So, what is that one piece of advice you can give them, anyone who's passing out of the college today, or someone who's an enthusiast and has no clarity that how can he enter into the field of security, how can he field of in the risk and compliance?
I can explain from my heart, because because I also started as a fresher, and I was not knowing anything about it. So yes, so the first and my biggest advice would be get your fundamentals right, correct, and understand your basics things like if your network, operating systems, web applications, technologies, scripting languages. Yeah, it helps. So once your basics are done, you practice on. There are multiple platforms out there like Try Hack Me, Hack the Boxes, or Zeus Shop. So these are the things where you can master yourselves, right? And once you are done with this, you can try your knowledge by applying some certifications like CEH, like EJPT, and then you go for the advanced one like OSCP and CRTP. So
Yeah.
again, the first thing is don't chase the tool. I'm repeating myself. Don't chase the tool, because there are multiple tools available. It varies according to your organization's requirement, but your fundamentals will stick out there. They won't change, right? So get your fundamentals correct, and understand how client communicates to the server. These are the very basic things, right? And
Yeah.
above all, stay curious. You learn every day. You should learn something new about the security, because attackers, they are doing it.
Yeah.
And again, the ethical hacking is not just about the tools. It's about thinking like an attacker.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Start, I
No, I
mean,
think thank
continuous
you so much,
learning.
Pragya. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Pragya, for for sharing that. a piece of advice like don't chase the tools, rather be curious, see that how they can learn and how you can keep yourself updated in this, in this current landscape. So Pragya, I think thank you so much for sharing the knowledge around what are the basics of VA, what are the basics of PT. I think
Yeah.
people are going to take away a very basic thing out of here, that there are two different terms, and what people could do, what the founders could do to make sure the product is secure enough, even without involving any
Yes.
security professionals in the beginning, because in the beginning the costs are very sensitive to the bootstrap founders especially. So Pragya, thank you so much for your time,
So before we
sparing,
close
and
up,
yes, yes, please.
before we close this session, I'll just say something like
Yes, please.
security is not just about the destination, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's a continuous journey. It should
It's a
be a
continuous
continuous
journey.
journey. So the earlier you start investing in the security, the stronger your digital system becomes. When I
Got
say
it.
investing no, it's not about the money. Investing means you train your people, you start thinking about, from the security mindset. This is also investment, right? So you earlier you start investing on that side, your systems will become, more powerful or more secure. So yeah, that's all I can say.
Got it. Got it. No, Pragya, I think that was a very good that
Closing
was a
note.
very good closure. Yeah, that was a very good conclusion, good closure to the discussion. And thank you so much, Pragya. You spared time on a weekend evening so that we can talk about it. And like I always feel that when I speak to the veterans like who have spent so much time in the industry, like 30-40 minutes are not enough. So probably we'll keep coming back to you for more such discussion. But for now, thank you so much, and let's keep connected.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pragya.